Hey everyone, and welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into the world of nutrition,
Ooh, fun.
but not the usual calorie counting and macros and all that stuff.
Okay.
We're going deeper today into the fascinating world of alkaline and acidic foods.
Yeah, I'm intrigued already.
So we'll break down the science behind it,
That sounds good.
and we'll uncover some surprising facts about common foods.
Ooh, I love those.
Yeah, and we'll give you some practical tips for, incorporating these principles into your own life.
I'm excited.
And to guide us on this deep dive, we're turning to Understanding the Health Impacts of Common Foods by nutrition expert Barbara O'Neill.
Oh, I've heard of her.
Yeah, she's got this really engaging style and focuses on longevity,
Mm.
living a longer, healthier life.
Living longer. Who doesn't want that?
Exactly.
So how does she say we do that?
Well, she highlights some fascinating examples of cultures known for their longevity, like the Okinawans,
Yeah.
Sardinians, and Seventh-day Adventists. And a common thread among these cultures is their diet.
Okay, makes sense.
They often emphasize natural whole foods with a strong focus on plant-based options.
Gotcha.
But before we get into the specifics, let's take a step back
Okay.
and understand the basic science behind it all.
All right.
What exactly is pH balance and why does it matter?
Well, pH stands for potential of hydrogen,
Okay.
and it's a measure of how acidic or alkaline a solution is.
Right.
A pH of 7 is neutral.
Okay.
Anything below 7 is acidic, and anything above 7 is alkaline.
Gotcha.
Now, when it comes to our bodies, we're aiming for a slightly alkaline pH,
Okay.
around 7.35 to 7.45.
So if our bodies are naturally slightly alkaline, why do we need to worry about the acidity or alkalinity of the foods we eat?
Well, that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
While our bodies have mechanisms to regulate pH, what we consume can influence this balance.
Right.
Some foods leave behind an acidic residue after being digested and metabolized,
Mm-hmm.
while others leave behind an alkaline residue. It doesn't necessarily mean the food itself is acidic or alkaline,
Right.
but rather how it affects our bodies after we've processed it.
Okay, so alkaline forming doesn't necessarily mean the food is alkaline itself,
Right.
but rather that it leaves behind an alkaline residue after being digested.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what are some examples of foods that might surprise us in terms of their effect on our pH balance?
Well, let's start with a food that many people assume is acidic, the humble lemon.
I was going to say lemons definitely taste acidic.
Exactly. They're tart and sour,
Right.
which usually indicates acidity.
Uh-huh.
But here's where it gets interesting. While lemons are acidic in their natural state, once they're digested and metabolized, they actually have an alkalizing effect on the body.
So even though a lemon is acidic initially, it actually contributes to a more alkaline environment in our bodies.
Precisely.
Wow.
It all comes down to the mineral content.
Okay.
Lemons are rich in alkaline minerals like potassium, calcium, and magnesium, which help to neutralize acidity and promote a healthy pH balance.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that we can't always judge a food's effect on our bodies just by its initial taste.
Absolutely. It's all about understanding the deeper impact of food on our internal environment.
O'Neill talks about this in her book,
Okay.
emphasizing the importance of getting to the root cause of a problem, not just treating symptoms.
Right.
She gives the example of a sore finger.
Mhm.
You need to know why it's sore before you can fix it.
That's such a great analogy.
Right.
It applies to so many aspects of health.
Exactly.
For example, if someone has high blood pressure, we need to understand the underlying cause.
Right.
Is it diet, stress, lack of exercise, or something else?
Yeah.
Treating the symptom alone won't address the root of the problem.
So just like we wouldn't just slap a Band-Aid on a sore finger without understanding why it's sore,
Right.
we need to look deeper into the causes of our health imbalances, including pH imbalance. And understanding which foods contribute to acidity and alkalinity is a key part of that.
Absolutely. It's about taking a holistic approach to health,
Right.
considering all the factors that contribute to our overall well-being.
So we've established that lemons are a surprisingly alkaline-forming food.
They are.
What other foods should we be loading up on to create that ideal alkaline environment in our bodies?
Another powerhouse group is dark green leafy vegetables.
Okay.
Think kale, spinach,
Love those.
collard greens, parsley, silver beet.
Mm.
They're all packed with alkaline minerals and are a fantastic addition to any diet.
O'Neill even mentioned something called collard greens that they eat in Alabama,
Oh, yeah.
but I've never seen those here in Australia.
Interesting.
Maybe that's a deep dive for another day.
We'll have to investigate that.
Yeah.
But for now,
Yeah.
The key takeaway is to include something from that dark green leafy family every day.
And if we struggle to eat enough leafy greens on a daily basis.
O'Neill suggests supplementing with green barley, or what they call super greens powder.
Yeah.
They can be a convenient way to boost your intake of alkaline-forming nutrients.
Now, what about other vegetables?
Sure.
Are they all equally beneficial in terms of alkalinity?
That's where things get a little more nuanced.
Okay.
While most vegetables are generally considered beneficial,
Right.
there are some that can have varying effects on different people.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Which vegetables are we talking about?
Tomatoes, bell peppers,
Oh.
eggplant, and potatoes are often grouped together as nightshades.
Nightshades. That sounds almost ominous.
It's just a botanical classification,
Okay.
but it's true that these vegetables can be a bit more complex in terms of their effects on pH balance.
Interesting.
Some people find they tolerate them well, while others experience digestive issues or other sensitivities.
O'Neill actually talks about her own experience with these veggies.
Oh, does she?
Apparently, bell peppers are a no-go for her.
Oh, wow.
But she can handle a little tomato or eggplant now and then.
Okay.
And potatoes are a staple since her husband is Irish. It's a perfect example of bioindividuality.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly.
You have to listen to your own body and pay attention to how you feel after eating different foods.
Yeah.
So he says, who am I going to listen to? I got to live in this body.
Exactly. You are the expert on your own body.
Right.
No one else can tell you what feels right for you.
So with nightshades, it's all about paying attention to how our bodies respond and making adjustments accordingly. But what about those who do enjoy them and want to include them in their diets?
Sure.
Are there ways to prepare them to minimize any potential negative effects?
There are. For example, cooking tomatoes with olive oil,
Okay.
something commonly seen in Mediterranean dishes,
Right.
actually releases a powerful antioxidant called lycopene.
And lycopene is not only a great antioxidant, but also has anti-inflammatory properties.
It does.
It's especially beneficial for men's health,
Okay.
specifically prostate health. So guys, listen up. Cooked tomatoes with olive oil a few times a week is a good thing.
Absolutely. It's a simple way to incorporate these nutrients and potentially boost your health.
So we've covered lemons, leafy greens, and the complexities of nightshades. What other foods can we add to our alkaline-forming arsenal?
Nuts and seeds are another important category.
Okay.
Almonds, Brazil nuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. They're all excellent sources of healthy fats, fiber,
Right.
and those all-important alkaline minerals.
O'Neill also points out that they're a great source of energy
Yeah,
and can help to stabilize blood sugar levels,
that's important.
which is something that many of us could benefit from, especially with all the processed foods and sugary snacks that are so readily available these days.
It's true. Choosing nutrient-dense snacks like almonds or Brazil nuts over a bag of chips or a candy bar can make a significant difference in our overall health and well-being.
Now let's talk about fruit. This one's
Okay.
a bit controversial.
How's...
Well, because while fruit is generally considered healthy,
Right.
it can be problematic for people with yeast issues.
Oh, right.
O'Neill warns that the sugar in fruit can actually feed the yeast, creating a more acidic environment.
I see.
But if some fruits can contribute to acidity,
Right.
how do we determine which ones are beneficial for an alkaline diet?
That's where paying attention to your body
Okay.
and potentially working with a healthcare professional or registered dietitian can be helpful.
Right.
It's also worth noting that the way fruit is prepared can influence its effects on pH balance.
How so?
For example, dried fruits tend to be more concentrated in sugar
Okay.
and therefore more likely to contribute to acidity.
What?
And juices, even if they're 100% fruit juice,
Right.
often lack the fiber found in whole fruit,
Okay.
which can help to slow down sugar absorption and mitigate its impact on pH.
That's an interesting perspective. So even within the category of fruit, there are nuances to consider.
There are.
And it ultimately comes back to listening to our bodies.
Yes.
And making informed choices based on our individual needs and sensitivities.
Exactly. It's not about following rigid rules, but rather understanding the principles and applying them in a way that works for you.
And before we move on to the acidic side of things,
Okay.
I want to touch on something O'Neill mentions in her book that really piqued my curiosity: acetaldehyde.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that something to do with alcohol?
It is. Acetaldehyde is a neurotoxin,
Right.
literally a brain killer,
Wow.
produced when alcohol breaks down in the body.
Okay, so that's bad news. But what does it have to do with fruit?
Well, hold on. We're
Yeah.
just talking about how fruit can be problematic for people with yeast issues.
Right.
Is there a connection?
Maybe.
There is. It turns out that acetaldehyde can also be produced when yeast overgrowth is fueled by fruit sugar.
Really?
And remember, when yeast feeds on sugar, it produces acidic byproducts.
Right.
So, in a sense, excessive fruit sugar can contribute to both acidity and the production of this harmful neurotoxin.
Wait, seriously. So eating too much fruit, especially if you have a yeast problem,
Yeah.
could be like exposing yourself to a neurotoxin.
Essentially, yes.
That's scary.
It's a remarkable example of how seemingly unrelated things can have interconnected effects on our health.
Right.
And it highlights the importance of understanding the deeper implications of our dietary choices.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. It's amazing how these seemingly unrelated things, alcohol, fruit, even car fumes, as you mentioned,
Right.
can contribute to the same harmful substance in our bodies.
It's wild, isn't it?
It really makes you think about the choices we make every day
Yeah,
and the cumulative effect they have on our health.
absolutely. It's about being mindful of the bigger picture
Right.
and understanding how all these pieces fit together.
So we've explored the alkaline side of things,
We have.
uncovering some surprising heroes like lemons and leafy greens,
Yeah.
and delving into the complexities of nightshades and fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about the foods that make our bodies more acidic? What should we be watching out for?
These foods are typically high in phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine.
Okay.
And you might be surprised by some of the culprits.
Let's hear it. What should we be mindful of?
Well, meat is a big one.
Okay.
O'Neill actually mentions Dr. Colin Campbell's research on cancer and meat consumption,
Okay.
which found strong links between animal protein and the development of certain types of cancer.
That's fascinating. I've heard of Dr. Campbell's work, but I'd love to hear a little more about his findings for those who might not be familiar with his research.
Dr. Campbell, along with his son, Thomas, conducted extensive research culminating in the publication of the China Study,
Right.
one of the most comprehensive studies on nutrition ever conducted. Their findings suggest that diets high in animal protein, including meat, are associated with an increased risk of chronic diseases, particularly cancer.
Interesting.
Conversely, plant-based diets were found to be protective against these diseases.
So while meat can be a source of protein and other nutrients, it's important to be mindful of its potential impact on our health, especially in terms of acidity.
Exactly.
What other foods should we be aware of?
Refined sugar is another major culprit when it comes to acidity.
And let's be real, refined sugar is highly addictive.
Oh, it is.
No wonder it's so hard to resist.
It's true. Our brains are wired to crave sugar.
Right.
And food manufacturers have become experts at leveraging this craving.
It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
From obvious culprits like candy and soda,
Right.
to more hidden sources like processed foods,
Yeah.
and even seemingly healthy options like yogurt and granola bars.
I know.
It's a real challenge to avoid.
It is. It takes conscious effort to read labels and make informed choices.
Yeah.
But the more we understand about the impact of sugar on our bodies,
Right.
the more motivated we'll be to make healthier choices.
So we've got meat and refined sugar on our acidic watch list.
We do.
What else should we be mindful of?
Then there's hybridized wheat,
Okay.
which is different from ancient wheat varieties.
Okay.
Modern wheat has been modified so much that it's not the same as what our ancestors ate.
That makes sense. It's like how dogs have been bred over centuries to create all these different breeds,
Right.
but they all originated from wolves.
Exactly.
We've selectively bred wheat for certain traits,
Mm-hmm.
like higher yields and disease resistance.
Right.
But in the process, we've potentially altered its nutritional profile
Yeah.
and its impact on our bodies.
That's a great analogy. And when it comes to wheat,
Yeah.
these modifications may have contributed to increased gluten sensitivity
Okay.
and potentially even to its acidic effects on the body.
Interesting. So sticking to ancient wheat varieties like spelt or einkorn
Yeah,
might be a better choice for those looking to minimize acidity.
it could be.
What else is on the list?
Aged cheese,
Going?
especially blue cheese, which actually contains mold.
Ew. I never thought about it that way.
It's true.
I love blue cheese,
Yeah.
but now I'm kind of second guessing my love for it.
It's all about balance, right?
I guess so.
A little bit of blue cheese now and then probably won't hurt. But it's good to be aware of its potential impact on pH balance.
What about other types of cheese? Are they all equally acidic?
Generally speaking, aged cheeses tend to be more acidic than fresh cheeses.
Go.
So cheddar, Parmesan,
Uh-huh.
and Swiss cheese would fall on the more acidic side,
Gotcha.
while mozzarella, ricotta,
Right.
and feta would be less so.
Good to know. So what else is on our acidic hit list?
Caffeine is another one,
Okay.
and it often goes hand in hand with sugar.
Think Coca-Cola, a double whammy of acidity.
Exactly. And both caffeine and sugar can be highly addictive,
Right.
making it even harder to break free from their grip.
This raises some important questions about our food choices
It does.
and the impact they have on our health.
Yeah.
It's not just about individual choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about the environment we live in,
Right.
where these highly processed addictive substances are readily available
Yeah.
and heavily marketed to us.
It's true. We're constantly bombarded with messages that promote these unhealthy choices, making it even more challenging to make informed decisions that align with our well-being.
It's like we're swimming upstream against a current of marketing and societal norms.
Yeah.
But the more we understand about the impact of these choices,
Yeah.
the more empowered we are to make changes that support our health.
I agree.
So we've got meat, refined sugar,
Mm-hmm.
hybridized wheat,
Yeah.
aged cheese, and caffeine on our list of acidic culprits.
Uh-huh.
What else should we be mindful of?
Then we have alcohol and tobacco.
Oh, okay.
They're not technically foods, but they definitely contribute to acidity in the body.
That makes sense. They're both substances that our bodies have to work hard to process and eliminate.
Right.
And that process can create an acidic environment.
Exactly. And they both come with a whole host of other health risks.
Right.
So it's best to avoid them altogether, or at least consume them in moderation.
Okay, so we've got our list of acidic culprits: meat, refined sugar, hybridized wheat, aged cheese, caffeine, alcohol, and tobacco.
It's a pretty long list.
It is. Now, what about all the other foods that fall somewhere in between?
That's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
We've talked about some of the superstars on the alkaline side,
Mm-hmm.
and we've identified some of the major acidic offenders.
Right.
But what about all the other grains, legumes, nuts, and vegetables that we
Mm.
haven't specifically categorized?
That's a great question. Where do foods like oatmeal,
Hmm.
rice, chickpeas, and lentils fit into this whole pH balance equation?
That's where the concept of the 80-20 balance comes in.
Okay.
O'Neill recommends aiming for a diet that consists of 80% alkaline-forming foods
Okay.
and 20% acid-forming foods.
That's reassuring to hear. It means
Yeah.
we don't have to completely give up all the foods we enjoy,
Right.
even if they fall on the slightly acidic side.
Exactly. It's not about deprivation or strict rules.
Ah.
It's about finding a balance that works for you
Yeah.
and allows you to enjoy a variety of foods while still supporting a healthy pH balance.
So what you're saying is that foods like oatmeal, rice, chickpeas, and lentils are perfectly fine to include in our diet,
Yes.
as long as we're balancing them out with plenty of those alkaline superstars.
Precisely. It's all about creating a harmonious balance within our bodies.
Right.
And that balance is key not only for maintaining a healthy pH, but also for supporting overall health and preventing chronic diseases.
O'Neill points out that chronic diseases like cancer and heart disease are on the rise,
They are.
and dietary imbalance is likely a major factor.
It's fascinating to consider the role of personal choices in our overall health.
It is.
We have so much power to influence our well-being through the foods we choose to eat.
It's empowering, isn't it?
It is.
To realize that we're not just victims of our genes or our environment,
Right.
but that we can actively shape our health destiny through the choices we make every day.
Absolutely.
And understanding the impact of food on our pH balance is a powerful tool in that journey.
It really is. It's about taking ownership of our health and making informed choices that support our long-term well-being.
This has been such an insightful exploration so far.
It has.
We've learned about the science behind pH balance,
Mm-hmm.
uncovered some surprising heroes and villains in the food world,
It's true.
and started to grasp the profound impact our dietary choices have on our overall health.
Absolutely.
And it's just the beginning.
I know. There's so much more to explore.
Right.
From practical tips for incorporating these principles into our daily lives to the deeper connections between alkalinity and overall well-being.
I'm excited to dive deeper. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll explore those practical tips and discover even more fascinating insights into the world of alkaline and acidic foods.
Can't wait. Welcome back to the deep dive. In the last part, we talked about some surprising food facts, like how lemons are actually alkaline forming despite their tart taste.
Yeah, it was mind-blowing to discover how some of our assumptions about food can be totally wrong. I know I've been guilty of judging a food's healthfulness just based on its initial taste or appearance.
It's a common mistake. We tend to rely on our senses, but sometimes, we need to dig deeper to understand the true impact of food on our bodies. And that's what we're doing here today, exploring the nuances of pH balance and, the fascinating ways in which our dietary choices can influence our overall well-being.
Speaking of digging deeper, I have a question that's been on my mind.
Right.
We've talked a lot about the effects of different foods on our pH balance, but how do we actually measure our body's pH level? Is there like a test for that?
There are a few ways to get a sense of your pH balance.
Okay.
One common method is using TH test strips to measure the acidity or alkalinity of your urine.
So you just pee on a strip of paper and it tells you your pH. That sounds pretty convenient.
It is, but it's important to note that urine pH can fluctuate throughout the day and isn't always a perfectly accurate reflection of your overall body pH. It's just one piece of the puzzle.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like taking your temperature.
Yeah.
It can give you an indication of whether you're running a fever,
Right.
but it doesn't tell you the whole story of what's going on in your body.
That's a great analogy. There are also blood tests that can measure pH more accurately,
Okay.
but those are typically only used in medical settings for specific diagnostic purposes.
So for most people, those urine test strips are a good starting point
They are?
for getting a general idea of their pH balance.
Right.
But as you said, it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. And even more important than testing is simply paying attention to how you feel.
Right.
If you're experiencing symptoms like fatigue, digestive issues, or skin problems,
Okay.
it could be a sign that your body's pH is out of balance.
It goes back to that idea of bioindividuality, listening to your body and noticing what works for you. We're all unique. And what might be a perfectly healthy food for one person could trigger a negative reaction in another.
Precisely. You are the expert on your own body.
Right.
No one else can tell you what feels right for you.
So let's say someone is listening to this and thinking, okay, I want to start incorporating more alkaline-forming foods into my diet. What are some practical tips for making that transition?
Sure.
It can feel overwhelming to overhaul your entire eating habits overnight.
You're absolutely right. Drastic changes are rarely sustainable.
Right.
It's much more effective to make gradual changes over time.
Okay.
One simple tip is to crowd out the acidic foods by gradually increasing your intake of alkaline options.
Okay.
For example, start by adding a handful of spinach to your morning smoothie.
Or swapping out that afternoon soda for a refreshing glass of lemon water.
Exactly. Small changes like that can make a big difference over time.
Yeah.
And remember, it's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
The goal is to find a sustainable balance that works for you. O'Neill emphasizes that 80-20 ratio. 80% alkaline forming, 20% acid forming. That seems much more achievable than striving for 100% perfection.
It does. And it allows for flexibility and enjoyment of a variety of foods. Because let's be real, no one wants to live on a diet of just leafy greens and lemons.
Of course not. Food is meant to be enjoyed.
Exactly.
It's about making conscious choices that nourish your body and support your overall well-being.
Speaking of enjoyment, are there any particularly delicious or easy-to-make alkaline recipes that you'd recommend? I'm always looking for new ideas to spice up my meals and make healthy eating more appealing.
Oh, absolutely. One of my favorites is a simple salad with mixed greens, chopped tomatoes, avocado, and a lemon tahini dressing.
Okay.
It's packed with alkaline ingredients and tastes amazing.
Yum. That sounds perfect for a light lunch or dinner.
It is.
What about stir fries?
Stir fries are great too.
Yeah?
Another great option is a stir fry with tofu, broccoli, and your favorite veggies, all tossed in a tamari ginger sauce.
Okay.
It's a quick and easy meal that's both alkaline and satisfying.
Those are great ideas. I'm getting hungry just thinking about them. What about smoothies? They seem like a great way to sneak in those extra greens and alkaline-forming fruits.
Smoothies are a fantastic option. You can pack in tons of alkaline ingredients like spinach, kale berries, and almond milk. And they're so versatile, you can customize them to your liking by adding different fruits.
Right.
Vegetables, nuts, seeds, protein powders, or even super greens powders.
Smoothies are definitely a lifesaver for busy mornings or as a healthy snack between meals.
They are.
So we've covered the basics of alkaline and acidic foods.
Yep.
How to make gradual changes to your diet, and even some tasty recipe ideas. What else should our listeners keep in mind as they embark on their alkaline journey?
One important point to remember is that it's not just about what you eat,
Right.
but also how you eat. Chewing your food thoroughly
Right.
and eating in a relaxed environment can aid digestion and support optimal pH balance.
That makes sense. When we're stressed or rushing through our meals, our bodies aren't able to digest food as effectively.
Exactly. Mindful eating can make a big difference.
Hmm.
It's about slowing down,
Yeah.
savoring each bite,
Right.
and paying attention to your body's signals of hunger and fullness.
And what about hydration? Does the type of water we drink matter when it comes to alkalinity?
That's a great question. And the answer is yes, to some extent.
Okay.
Some types of water, like alkaline water,
Uh-huh.
have a higher pH level and can contribute to overall alkalinity in the body.
So opting for alkaline water over, say, soda or sugary drinks
Right.
could be a helpful swap.
Absolutely. And even if you're not drinking alkaline water specifically, staying well hydrated is crucial for overall health
Right.
and helps your body maintain a healthy pH balance. O'Neill mentions the importance of water quite a bit.
Does she?
She evenly devotes an entire chapter to it in her book.
She's got a whole chapter on water. That's interesting. It shows how important it is for our overall health.
It really is. It's essential for countless bodily functions,
Right.
including digestion, nutrient absorption, and waste removal. And it plays a crucial role in regulating pH balance. Without sufficient water, our bodies can't function optimally.
O'Neill even talks about using hot and cold water treatments for certain ailments.
Oh, really?
Sounds pretty intriguing, but we'll have to dive into that another time.
We will. It's a fascinating topic. But for now,
Yeah.
let's focus on the importance of staying hydrated with good quality water.
Okay, so good food, mindful eating, and plenty of water. Those are some key takeaways for supporting alkalinity. Anything else we should add to the list? I'm thinking about things like exercise, sleep, stress management.
Yeah.
Those all seem like they could play a role in overall health and potentially even influence pH balance.
You're absolutely right. It's all interconnected.
Right.
Exercise helps to improve circulation and eliminate waste products, which can contribute to a more alkaline environment.
Okay.
Sleep is crucial for repair and rejuvenation,
Right.
allowing our bodies to restore balance. And stress management is essential for keeping our hormones in check, which can have a significant impact on pH levels.
It's like those old school scales where you have to balance the weights on both sides to achieve equilibrium.
Right.
Our health is like that.
It is.
We need to find balance in all areas of our lives to achieve optimal well-being.
That's a perfect analogy. It's not just about focusing on one aspect of health.
Right.
It's about creating harmony across all dimensions: physical, mental, emotional, and even spiritual.
So it's not just about the food we eat. It's about the way we live our lives. It's about cultivating healthy habits
Absolutely.
and finding ways to reduce stress and prioritize self-care.
Exactly. It's about taking a holistic approach to well-being and recognizing that all these aspects are interconnected.
Right.
When we support our bodies in all these ways, we create an environment where they can thrive.
This is so much more than just a diet.
It is.
It's a lifestyle shift.
I agree.
It's about making conscious choices that support our overall well-being, not just focusing on one specific aspect.
Yeah. I think it's important to emphasize that transitioning to a more alkaline lifestyle is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's about making gradual changes,
Yeah.
experimenting and finding what works best for you. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
That's encouraging to hear. It takes the pressure off feeling like we have to do everything perfectly right away.
It's about progress, not perfection. And it's about enjoying the process,
Right.
discovering new foods, experimenting with different recipes,
Yeah.
and noticing the positive changes in your body and mind. It can be a truly empowering and rewarding experience.
It's like we're becoming scientists of our own bodies, observing the effects of different inputs and making adjustments based on our findings. It's fascinating.
It really is. And the more we understand about the impact of our choices,
Yeah.
the better equipped we are to make informed decisions that align with our health goals. Remember, knowledge is power.
That's a great point. And the beauty of this deep dive is that it's given us a solid foundation to build upon. We've learned about the science, explored practical tips, and even gotten some delicious recipe inspiration.
And now it's up to each listener to take this knowledge and apply it to their own lives, to experiment, to listen to their bodies, and to find their own unique path to optimal health and well-being.
This has been such a fascinating exploration. We've learned so much about the impact of food on our bodies and how to make choices that support alkalinity. But it's clear that it goes far beyond just food choices. It's about a holistic approach to health, encompassing everything from mindful eating and hydration to stress management and self-care.
And it's a journey that's unique to each individual. What works for one person might not work for another, and that's okay. It's about finding what resonates with you, what feels good in your body, and what supports your overall well-being.
It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge, listening to our bodies, and making choices that align with our values and goals.
Beautifully said. And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore the profound connections between alkalinity and overall health and well-being. We'll delve into the ways in which a balanced pH can support our immune system, improve digestion, enhance sleep, and even boost our mood. It's an exciting exploration that I can't wait to share with you.
Welcome back to the deep dive. It's amazing how much ground we've covered already.
I know, right?
From the science of pH balance to specific alkaline and acidic foods, and even practical tips for making those gradual shifts towards a more alkaline lifestyle.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
We've also touched on the importance of mindful eating, hydration,
Right.
and the idea that it's not just about what you eat, but also how you live your life.
Definitely.
And now we're finally at the part I've been most curious about,
Okay.
the connection between alkalinity and overall health and well-being.
This is where it all comes together. We've laid the foundation, and now we can explore how a balanced pH can have a ripple effect on so many aspects of our health.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the link between alkalinity and well-being?
Well, when your body's pH is balanced,
Yeah,
it creates an optimal environment for all your systems to function properly.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like having a clean and organized workspace. Everything runs more smoothly.
Exactly. And when your body is functioning optimally,
Yeah.
you're more likely to experience things like vibrant health, increased energy levels,
Okay.
and a stronger immune system.
So eating more alkaline foods can actually boost our immune system. That's incredible.
It can certainly contribute to a stronger immune response.
Wow.
When your body is in a more alkaline state,
Mhm.
it's better equipped to fight off infections and diseases.
That's amazing. I knew that our diet played a role in immunity, but I never realized the connection to pH balance before.
It's one of those fascinating connections that we often overlook.
Yeah.
We tend to think of our immune system as a separate entity,
Right.
but it's intricately linked to every other system in our body, including our pH balance.
So what you're saying is that by creating a more alkaline environment within our bodies,
Yes.
we're essentially creating a more hospitable environment for our immune cells to thrive and do their job effectively.
Precisely. It's like providing them with the optimal conditions to flourish
Right.
and protect us from those invaders.
And what about other health benefits? Does alkalinity have any impact on things like digestion, sleep, or even mood?
Absolutely. A balanced pH can significantly improve digestion.
How so?
Well, think of it this way.
Right.
When your stomach is too acidic,
Mm-hmm.
it can lead to indigestion, heartburn, and other digestive discomfort.
That makes sense. I've
Ah.
definitely experienced that before, especially after eating certain foods.
But when your pH is balanced,
Yeah.
your stomach can produce the right amount of acid needed for proper digestion
Okay.
without causing those unpleasant side effects.
So it's not about eliminating stomach acid altogether. It's
Right.
about finding that sweet spot where it's working optimally.
Exactly. And an alkaline environment also promotes the growth of beneficial bacteria in the gut.
Which is crucial for overall health. We've talked about the importance of gut health before on the show,
Yeah.
but it's always good to get a reminder.
It really is the foundation of so much our well-being. A healthy gut microbiome not only aids in digestion,
Right.
but also plays a role in immunity, mood regulation, and even cognitive function.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as pH balance can have such far-reaching effects on our health.
It's a testament to the interconnectedness of our bodies.
Right.
And speaking of interconnectedness, let's talk about sleep.
Yes, please. I'm always looking for ways to improve my sleep quality.
Well, an alkaline environment can actually promote relaxation
Okay.
and deeper, more restful sleep.
I could definitely use some of that. How does that work?
When your body is overly acidic,
Mhm.
it can lead to feelings of restlessness and anxiety,
Right?
making it difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I know that when I'm feeling stressed or anxious, it's much harder to fall asleep.
But when your pH is balanced,
Yeah.
your body is more likely to be in a relaxed state,
Okay.
making it easier to drift off into a peaceful slumber.
So by making those dietary and lifestyle changes to support alkalinity, we're not only boosting our immune system and improving digestion,
Right?
we're also setting the stage for better sleep.
It's all connected. And here's another fascinating connection: mood.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
How does pH balance relate to mood?
When your body is in a more alkaline state,
Yeah.
You're less likely to experience mood swings,
Okay.
irritability, or feelings of anxiety.
Wow. So alkalinity really does have a ripple effect on our entire well-being.
It does.
It's like a chain reaction. One
Mhm.
positive change leads to another.
It's interconnected with all aspects of our physical, mental, and emotional health.
That's incredible. So
Mhm.
by making conscious choices about the foods we eat
Right.
and by adopting those healthy lifestyle habits we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
we can actually influence our overall health and happiness.
Precisely. Food is more than just fuel.
Oh,
It's
really?
information that our bodies use to function.
It's like we're literally feeding our bodies with the building blocks for optimal health.
Exactly. And by choosing alkaline-forming foods and making those lifestyle changes,
Hmm.
we're providing our bodies with the tools they need to thrive.
This has been such a powerful deep dive.
Mm.
It's completely changed the way I think about food and the impact it has on my overall well-being.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
To realize that we have so much control over our own health and happiness through the choices we make every day.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to embark on your own alkaline journey, to
Yeah.
experiment, to listen to your bodies, and to discover the incredible power you have to shape your own health destiny.
Remember, it's not about perfection or strict rules.
Right.
It's about making gradual changes,
Yeah.
finding what works for you, and enjoying the process of creating a healthier, happier, and more vibrant you.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of alkaline and acidic foods. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating topic.